Sandra, welcome to another episode of Asexualise, My Asexual Life. This is the place to be for education about asexuality, all things asexual. I share my asexual life journey in order to help you in yours. So hit the subscribe button and the bell icon so you never miss an episode. So today we're talking about what makes an ideal asexual relationship, and I'm going to be reading from Asexual Perspectives book. Don't forget the Kindle version of this book is on offer. It's got a massive discount off just for Asexual Perspectives Awareness Month. So the offer will be going away on the 31st of July. So do not miss out. Go and type Asexual Perspectives into your local Amazon store and go and grab a copy. So, yes, let's get tucked into it then. Have you ever wondered what an asexual relationship would look like? Especially if you're watching this and you're not asexual. Like, how does an asexual relationship even work, especially if you're someone who doesn't like sex or romance? Let's take a look at different perspectives in asexual perspectives. So, Philippa Duke, if you're not in a relationship, would you like to be in one? And if so, why? And what type of relationship? Romantic, platonic? What would your ideal relationship look like? And would you be in a relationship with a sexual person or not? And reason why? Absolutely no, thank you. The most I would want is a super close best friend that I maybe develop a want to cuddle with, but nothing more. I don't need it at all. So, yeah, some asexuals do love cuddling their friends. As I'm a romantic asexual, I personally only believe in being in a cuddling way with someone I'm in a relationship with. I don't cuddle my friends. I'll hug them to say hello and goodbye, but I wouldn't cuddle them. And I would only hug them if they wanted that, you know? So, C.A. Altman's story. I do not want to be in a romantic relationship with anyone, but I would certainly love being part of a tribe, constellation of close friends. Basically, I'd like to live in a community of people who are emotionally and or physically close to each other, where there's a plethora of people available for cuddling and fun times, adventures, you perv, at any given time. I've always liked the idea of being part of a tight-knit, tribe-like community. Anyone in this community would be free to be anyone in this community would be free to be as sexual or non-sexual as they please, so long as none of the sex happens with to me. Well, that's how society is now, in the sense that anyone can be like free to be sexual or asexual, in the sense that it's up to you whether you're open about that or not. But I do understand what they're saying, that in some countries it's a lot more risky and lots of people fear being ridiculed. But it is tough, you know, especially in some countries that don't understand asexuality. Particularly, you know, like some countries don't understand gay love is fine and lesbian love is fine. You know, they don't get it. Love is love at the end of the day. You know, some people are like, oh, it's a sin to be asexual or to be gay or something like that. It's ridiculous. I'm more spiritual than religious, but I talk to God usually on a daily basis, and I know that is God's a he to me. Doesn't have to be a he to you, but I know that he doesn't mind whatever sexuality you are, because at the end of the day, he loves unconditionally. So it doesn't matter. He's a being that loves you for who you are, exactly as you are, with no restraints or anything. So, you know, I just thought I'd add that in there. So yeah, it's like we are free to be asexual or non-sexual or sexual. I guess because some asexuals aren't always non-sexual in the sense of behavior, but we are free to do that, as in we can do what we want, but obviously in some countries things are frowned upon and a lot of people feel restricted, like they can't do what they want. One of the biggest things I find with dating apps, the biggest problems, are people are lying on there. They're not being their true authentic self. They're lying about their age or their name or something else. And it's just really sad that the majority of people in the world feel they can't even be their authentic self. Nowadays, if you're authentic on a dating app, my God, do you stand out from the crowd? Long gone are the days when most people are authentic. It's the opposite now. So if you want to stand out on a dating app, just be you. That's it. If you want to stand out on the world, be you. So yeah, I personally don't like the idea of being cuddling with loads of different people, and like I'm not very like I'm not very comfortable with being in groups of people like that. Like, I'm a lot more comfortable in groups than I used to be because I go out to, obviously, when I arrange asexual meetups, but I also go to meetup.com groups for 20s and 30s group and stuff like that. And they are really welcoming, and it's quite a big group of at least 20 of us usually. And I like being around them. Does everyone like me? Probably not. Like, I'm an acquired taste, right? But that's okay. I think the guys mostly like me there, apart from the one that knows I like foreign guys and he purposely avoids me because he's foreign and clearly he's not interested in me. I find that quite amusing. But yeah, I overall I get on well with people there. Everyone like who went last time I got on really well with, and it was really good. So yes, so I like that, but I don't like the idea of actually being in a tribe of people where everyone's in their each other's physical space and cuddling everyone. It's not my scene, like I personally prefer to live on my own, even in a relationship. I love my own space. I just don't want to live with someone. I really don't. So Victoria's story. At the moment, I'm fairly neutral on that topic. I don't need to be in a romantic relationship to be happy, nor do I have the desire to actively seek one out. Even if I have romantic feelings for someone, I don't necessarily want to be in a relationship with them. However, I'm not against being in a romantic relationship with someone, given the right circumstances and person or persons. I'd be inclined to try one. Ideally, this person would be asexual, but I'd also try a romantic relationship with a sexual person. A sexual person can't help being sexual any more than I can help being asexual. So excluding someone based on their sexuality would seem unfair to me. I definitely would try it. This would probably result in an open/polyamorous relationship, as this would be the best way to meet our individual needs. I personally would never have a polyamorous relationship. So I'm very monogamous, but I do understand some asexuals do that. And some people think that's a good thing because they think that a sexual person can get their needs met physically elsewhere. They can get their emotional needs met with the asexual, and they like that. Personally, I don't like that. We're all different. We've all got different perspectives. So, Zoe's story. I would like to be in a relationship, even though I've been solo for years and like my own company. I do get quite lonely at times. My ideal partner would be my best friend, confident companion, love of my life, soulmate, and absolutely asexual. I absolutely feel the same way as this person in terms of I think they should be my best friend, soulmate, love of my life, all wrapped into one. I really do. And I haven't found that person yet. Never again will I have a relationship with a sexual. Never again will I be in a situation where I'm coerced to have sex in order to keep a relationship. Like me, my partner will want and need some of the same type of affection as I do. My ideal partner will also be introverted, like me. This is important because I need someone who understands when and why I need a break from peopling. My last relationship was with an extrovert, and we had many arguments about me being antisocial. My ideal partner would also be understanding about mental health issues and will know to give me time and space when I am in one of my down cycles in my bipolar depression, and I will gladly return the favor if needed. So I can understand where this person's coming from totally, because I would love to have like an ideal romantic partner where they're my confident companion, love of my life, soulmate. And I'd love it if they were asexual but love kissing as much as me. I would absolutely adore it, you know. I would prefer it to be an Indian guy, to be honest, because I really feel I'm meant to be with an Indian guy. And however much I try to change my mindset about that, my soul longs for that, you know? My soul believes otherwise. My soul feels I should be with an Indian guy. But it's very hard to find someone who matches my preferences, considering I'm quite different to Indian culture. So yeah, it's tough out there, you know? I am open to different types of people, like Pakistani guys are the ones that I have ended up kissing or dating or talking to mostly lately. I had a video call with a Pakistani guy last night, but yes, that's where it's ended. So in the end, we ended up not being right for each other. And it's because we wanted different things in a relationship, actually. So yeah, it's very interesting because we're talking about relationships in this book. And I personally do not want to live with anyone. I do not want to get married. I do not want children. I do not want sex. So this Pakistani guy who I met through Facebook dating, it was interesting because he seemed to be able to be in an asexual relationship. That didn't really seem to be an issue for him. But then the more he talked to me, the more it was like we wanted different things. So he was saying he didn't want kids, but then he kept kind of talking about it and then saying, well, I definitely wouldn't want it now. And then he concluded, well, he didn't want it because he felt that he couldn't have that responsibility, certainly not at the moment. But I'm saying I never want kids. I've never wanted them since I was 15 years old. And then he was saying about marriage. So first of all, he's kind of saying about, he kind of seemed okay about marriage. And then he was on about, oh, well, I'd like to get married or just a civil partnership. And I said, I'm not interested in that. He's like, why aren't you interested? I said, because I don't agree with that. And people can change. I do not want to be tied into a contract with someone who could change their mind about me years later down the line. It can happen. I don't agree with marriage. Maybe years ago it worked, but things were very different. And I know it works for some people. I know two asexual couples, they're with asexuals. You know, they don't have sex as far as I know, and they're with other asexuals, you know, and it does work for them. But I think there is a certain type of person for marriage, you know, but I'm not the marriage type of person. Yes, I was years ago, but not anymore. You know, so this guy was asking me about marriage, and then he was asking, I was asking him what his ideal relationship would look like, and like, how many times would you like to see someone? And he's like, every night, you know, like every evening, or at least at weekends, and I'm just thinking like, when would that even happen? Like, I can't really be seeing someone every night. Romantically, I like the idea, but at the end of the day, I have my work to do. Like, I'm on this channel, right? I've got people in my inboxes. I've got groups, 6 asexual groups that I run. I've got Facebook pages that I run, Instagram, you know, this channel, and which is my main one, and 2 other ones. At the moment, I'm busy soundproofing, trying to soundproof my flat because I got 3 podcast interviews next week, all of which I'll be talking about asexuality to raise awareness of it. It's a lot of work to get on podcasts, you know, and I don't feel like I want to live with someone. He's like, oh, I'd be all right with separate rooms, which is a nice idea if I was living with someone, but I don't want to live with someone. I'm not interested in cooking. I'm not interested in cleaning for a guy. So my ideal relationship would be a living apart together relationship. And that is known as an LAT. Some people have never heard of it before. Quite a lot of people haven't. But LATs are real things, living apart together relationship. And you don't have to be asexual to have one of those. An LAT, they did a article in one of the newspapers years ago. And I was reading, this was a long time ago, that there's 10% of the UK population are in LATs, living apart together relationships. I used to work for a furniture company. And when I was a manager of a concession for a furniture company, there was a man and woman who came in, and they were both looking for furniture to each of their own homes, and they were married. They just lived separately. So they wanted like furniture for one of their places, and they wanted furniture for the other place. Because not everyone wants to live together. Sometimes people aren't suitable to live together. Because I've got disabilities like fibromyalgia and anxiety, right? It's not really suitable for me to live with someone. And because of all the work I do for asexuals, and I'm online, like it's already 2:50 a.m. here. Because I work on a different time schedule. Like I usually go to sleep at 4 a.m. most of the time and get up at midday. That suits my sleep pattern. It suits my It suits the way I sleep. It's better for my mental health. It's better for my liveliness. I'm more alive at night. If I start going to bed at normal times like everyone else does, I can't really do it. And it's just not who I am. I have less energy when I go to sleep at normal times. Of course, there are random times when I go to sleep much earlier if I'm really tired. I don't, like force myself to eternally stay awake every single night till 4 a.m. And sometimes I go to sleep at 2. But hardly ever in my life do I go to sleep at like 10 or half 10. Usually it's if I'm really tired or poorly or I've been like out for like multiple days in a row. And even then, like some people are like, well, did you get up much later? Did you make up for all the hours you lost? And I'm like, no, I just, maybe I'd have 2 more hours sleep, like 10 hours instead of 8 hours sometimes. But it's like, I'm back again. You know what I mean? Like a springboard. And so for me, because of all the work I do for asexuals, because of all the online work I do, because of the study I'm doing with Blue Talks at the moment, I can't be in a relationship that's a normal conventional relationship. It just doesn't work for me. I've actually lived that life before in the past and I hated it. I was so friggin' bored. Like the guy who I video chatted with, he's like, "Oh, I'm a simple guy." I was thinking, well, I'm not simple. I don't want simple. Simple is utterly boring to me. Like, what do? You come home from work and like, what are you doing with your evenings? Like, of course, I like spending time with a guy. Of course, I like kissing him and stuff, but I don't want to just sit and watch mindless amounts of television. I don't have a television license anyway. So the guy wants to come around my flat and watch TV. He can't because it's illegal in my flat and I don't watch TV. That's why I don't have a license. So he lucked out there, didn't he? But I, like if I was in a relationship with a guy, my ideal type of relationship was to see him 2 times a week, maybe 3 maximum. That would be really pushing it. Sometimes I might not even be able to see him twice a week because of all the work I do. Like I am so busy at the moment. I didn't even stream last night because I was so busy trying to find soundproofing and I'm scrolling for hours. I'm now trying to like watch videos and read articles on soundproofing, like be a DIY person. I'm like, this is completely taking me off on a tangent, but I need to soundproof this place as much as possible because it'll help my people in the house who live in different flats and obviously help me. But if I'm so busy with my career and my mission, I can't just be aimlessly sitting at home with a guy not doing anything. Do you understand what I mean? I prefer quality time over quantity, where we meet up like once or twice a week, have nice dates, have nice time together, loads of chatting. I do need messaging regularly though. If I don't hear from a guy, I'm like, well, he's clearly not interested. And I could tell this guy had lost interest when he started doing work for work on his laptop rather than fully listening to me. And when he finished the call, he's like, "Oh, we've been 2 hours." Like, it's a really long time. I'm like, "Is it 2 hours?" He's like, "Oh, 3." But, like, that seemed to, like, bother him a bit. Whereas with me, if I like spending time with someone, I'm like, "My God, that time went really quickly." And I really look forward to seeing the person again. Not like, "Oh, it took that amount of time," type thing. But clearly a person's not interested in you for a relationship or dating scenario if they're basically thinking work is more important than listening and talking to you and facing you in that scenario, like when they're distracted, they're not really that interested. But he said he still wanted to meet up, but I knew he didn't, so I didn't hear from him. And then I messaged him to say, I guess you've changed your mind and that we're not compatible, but basically, I wish you the best of luck. And I'm looking for a guy who's enthusiastic to talk to me and see me and spend time with me and message me. But I wish him luck. I just think in the end we're just 2 different people and very incompatible with our wants, likes, and needs and dislikes. It would have been nicer if he'd told me straight that he wasn't going to see me anymore at the weekend, rather than at the end of the video call saying, "Yeah, I'll still see you on Saturday because we're going to see each other on Saturday." But I wish him the best of luck. I just think we're 2 different people. He's introverted. I'm extrovert. He likes the outdoors and nature. I don't. He loves traveling. I don't, without unless it's within the UK for day trips. In the end, he pretty much admitted that he wanted to see someone that he was talking about marriage or a civil partnership. I'm not interested in that. Then he was talking about he'd want to see someone every single night. And it's like, I just can't go to that life. I don't even know if I'm suitable for a relationship a lot of the time when I have these type of things. I'm like, I'm not suitable for a conventional relationship, that's for sure. I really don't want a conventional relationship. It just wouldn't make me happy. Like, I'd rather spend quality time seeing a guy who's the love of my life, soulmate, and everything else. Like, a few days a week and then get on with my work the rest of the time on my mission. Like if I don't get to speak on here, if I don't get to do things I need to do, I just get stressed. I get so stressed out. And I don't want to be with a partner getting stressed out when I'm with them because I haven't got my work done and I've got no time to myself to even relax. So it's hard to get a balance, but I think you need balance. And obviously the guy's probably got friends of his own or wants to go. Like if there is a guy who's different to me, then he should be going walking in nature and going out in the evening on his own to fields or whatever he wants to do, hiking, camping on some of his days off, like not just being with me. Yeah, years ago I just wanted the guy to spend all the time with me, but that's why I used to watch endless amounts of TV and stay indoors, not doing anything else with my life. But my life's very different now. I like being a complex person, as in having lots of different layers to me, as in having depth to my character, as in like I'm into personal and professional development, self-development. I'm into improving myself, improving my life, learning, growing, developing, helping others. This is what I'm all about, and I will never ever give up my asexual mission, which is to get asexuality recognized as a sexual orientation throughout the globe so that no asexual has to live in fear of ridicule ever again. I'm a public girl, so whoever's going to be with me in a relationship, they need to be fine with being seen on social media with me. They need to be happy in that way, happy to support me on this channel. They need to be happy to be with me. And even if they're introverted, I understand they're not going to be all over social media like I am all the time, which is great, but I would expect them to still want to be proud to be with me and post a photograph of me and say nice things, about us together and all this type of thing, and maybe come on my channel occasionally. And any guy that can't take that responsibility on, he's not the right guy for me. Asexuality is the biggest part of my life. I literally live and breathe asexuality pretty much 24/7. Everything I do every day, there's something in there to do with this channel and asexuality, and whether it's being in my groups, whether it's posting a video of what I'm eating, because asexuals seem to like that, whether it's talking about asexuality in general, where it's like everything likes to geared towards asexuality. Like with the 3 podcasts next week, I'm so trying to find how to soundproof my flat. I've even contacted a local arts place who does has some sound rooms to see if I can do a couple of the podcast interviews there, because I'm a guest on one of them. Is being broadcast on Lifeology. It's being recorded next week, not broadcast then, but in about a month's time. But it's a syndicated radio show, and it goes out to all over the place in America. I think it's 14 states, and it's got a listenership of 3.5 million people. It's huge, and it needs to be excellent sound quality. So I'm trying to see if I can hire studios to do my guest interview. I'm the guest on their show. So I don't know if they can or not, or if it's too short notice. So yeah. So my life is very hectic. It's very busy. I like being like that. I want someone who's supportive, whose life is all about developing themselves, supporting me in my mission, me emotionally supporting them. I mean, I thought in the beginning there was potential for me and this guy because we live in the same city. And he said he needed emotional support, which I'm really good at giving. I'm not good at doing the physical stuff because I've got fibromyalgia and my body hurts, And I thought he would benefit from that. And I thought we would get on well. But with all the things he wants long term, I just don't think we're suitable. So, yeah, and his age wasn't what he actually is. And he was telling me how he loves honesty and it's really important. And I said, oh, yeah, I know. I hate it when guys have got a different age in their profile to which age they actually are. And he then explained to me he got a different age. And then it was like a huge red flag for me. But I do wish him luck. I still personally had a nice time talking to him. So, yeah. He jumped to one conclusion, which I told him was wrong. It wasn't about asexuality, actually. Well, it was actually. It was about it, but not direct. It wasn't to do with me not being asexual, but it was to do with someone else not believing I'm asexual. And he just said, oh, I bet it's because they don't believe you're asexual. Well, that's caused a problem. I'm like, no, it hasn't actually. So yes, I don't like people assuming things when they don't know me or my situation. But anyway, I think this is really important what Zoe says. It's like my partner will want and need the same type of affection as I do. That's why I really wished I could meet the right asexual guy for me, because I know that if I met the right asexual guy for me, then life would be so much better in the romantic relationship sense, you know? Like, I would be so happy to have true asexual pure love with an Indian asexual guy, for example. But you have to be super strong guy, like not care what others think, take very much pride in his relationship with me, you know, be very strong that we're together as a team and into me in a really nice way, you know, and always there, reliable, trustworthy, committed. You know, I haven't met that guy yet. I do believe he's out there. I do believe there are guys that are different to their culture. I do believe that some of them just get so fed up, they just feel left out and they know that they're not their culture and they know that they can't be something they're not, you know? I think there are rare guys like that. And I think it's important, like, if you are an extrovert like I am, that you see how introverted the person is, because I don't mind being in a relationship with an introvert if it was good for us both, you know? Because I would still want the introvert person to go out with me sometimes, but I have introverted friends. My best introvert friend, they will go out to certain places with me, not others. So yeah, I think it all depends on the person, but I guess for me, introvert being with an introvert is better in some ways, because I think if you have two extroverts, then it doesn't necessarily work out because your personalities can clash. But maybe an ambivert would be good, someone who's introverted but also got extroverted tendencies as well. Or, well, ambiverts in between introvert and extrovert. They don't mind staying in, they don't mind going out. But you can also get introverted with some extroverted tendencies. I'm an extrovert with some introverted tendencies. So there is a way we could meet in the middle. But yeah, I think it's really important though to acknowledge how introverted you are. Like, if some guys are really introverted, they're not necessarily going to enjoy a public life like I do with me. But, you know, like, it's never an issue for the people I see usually on Facebook, a lot of them. But some of them who are from different cultures, like Pakistani, they don't post pictures of the girlfriend or wives on social media for some reason. But the majority of people I know in the entrepreneur space, they do post their partners. You know, they post pictures of them together, pictures of their kids as well, if they've got kids and stuff like that. Because at the end of the day, I'm not going to have a secret relationship. I'm not going to be in a relationship with a guy where he just wants a secret relationship. He doesn't want people to know that he's with me. To me, that means the guy is probably cheating. He's not proud to be seen with me, and I just can't be bothered with that type of person. They're no good for me. And it's, you know, a person who's really in love with someone, they don't care if they shout it from the rooftops, to be perfectly honest with you. They love that person and that's it. A guy who's a strong guy, for example. Carrie Ann's story. Yes, I would love to be in a relationship. Ideally, it does not need to be with another asexual, though this would probably be best, but it should be somebody who does not need physical affection to feel loved and appreciated. It would be somebody who is understanding and respectful, somebody who is compatible with me. We don't need to be identical, just a right fit for each other. And there are many other expectations I'd have, but that's what's relevant. Yeah, that's important, because you don't have to be identical, but you do have to be a right fit for each other. Like, if I my best friend, he does like walking in nature. He likes going on huge long walks for hours and for miles, like 16 miles, 19 miles in one day. It's a lot. So, you know, you don't have to be identical either to be in an actual relationship. We're best friends, not in a relationship. Just thought I'd add that. But I do think there has to be a level of compatibility. Like, if that person was just, so if, I'll not say that person, if a person was in a relationship and they were always walking all the time and never had any time for their partner, then that would be difficult, but I think it's all about balance. I think it's good for people to walk. Like, I expect if I'm going to be with a guy in a relationship that he will want some time to either do some running or maybe go to the gym on his own or do some walking on his own, that type of thing, because exercise is important for the individual, right? Just because I don't do as much because like I end up hurting myself and got fibromyalgia and got a leg strain at the moment doesn't mean to say that he can't do that. And I do do a lot of stuff online, so I am indoors a lot. Thomas's story. As of right now, I am not actively seeking a romantic relationship. I am working on building my social network of friends and finding fulfillment that way. My ideal friend, however, would be someone that I could discuss various topics with that never doesn't understand what I'm talking about, and vice versa. I would never be in a relationship with a sexual person as their goals and mine would be too vastly different. And I do understand where they're coming from, because my ideal relationship would include an element of deep discussions, like talking about anything and everything, being completely open and honest with each other, because I find that form of intimacy, the deep communication and talking, just very, very attractive. The more a guy talks to me and his eyes light up and he gets enthusiastic about what he's talking about, especially if it's website coding. I've got a thing for guys who can website code and talking about coding. I just want to kiss him more, and to hold the guy's hand and him talk to me about what he's interested in, his eyes light up. I'm thinking of an Indian guy when I say this, by the way. It just makes me feel great. If he's looking at me, he's really into me, really interested in me, and he's also into what he's talking about. That is super attractive. It's very intimate and very beautiful. I really love that form of intimacy, the deep communication, the deep conversations, talking about anything and everything in the world, planet, and universe with nothing off limits. Limitless love with each other and limitless chatting and nothing off limits. I just love that. That's beautiful. That's really intimacy to me, true intimacy. Right. So, Joe's story. I think I basically addressed this in the previous question. So, about what they want in a relationship. So they said they're not in a relationship and they doubt they ever will be again. If they did, they'd have another relationship. If they did have another relationship, it would have to be with an asexual. And they miss having a reliable companion for adventures like camping, board games, dinners, etc. But at my age, it's difficult to find new friends who have available time. So they went on to say, I think I would prefer a close friend or two, not really a relationship. As for romantic, candlelit dinner, yes. Slow dancing, yes. Kissing, etc. No, I definitely would not get involved with a sexual person because that doesn't ever make sense to me and wouldn't be fair to her. So, yeah, I love kissing. I'm a hyper romantic and a hyper kisser, which is very unusual. Not even many sexuals are as hyper romantic or hyper kisser as me. There's some that are hopeless romantics, but I'm a hyper romantic. I'm excessively romantic, and even the ones that are romantic, they don't like kissing as much as I do. A lot of the time. Well, they don't think they do. They don't think about it like I do. I can kiss for hours and never get bored. And I thoroughly enjoy that experience, it's a great experience, but it's different for them. So, yes, Eddie's story. I wouldn't object to a relationship with a sexual person. The relationship couldn't be all about sex, of course. If I were to limit myself to relationships with only aces, that's a very small amount of people, and I would be rejecting all of the awesome sexual people I will meet. They can be some really awesome sexual people, but at the end of the day, for me personally, as I'm a sex repulsed asexual, and if you're sex repulsed yourself, I'm sure you can relate. A lot of the time with a sexual person, it'd just be such a lack of incompatibility. And it would be nervous energy for me, and I would feel on edge and not completely safe or comfortable with that person, Even a new asexual person would be difficult to become accustomed to, in the sense that, you don't necessarily know if they are definitely asexual. or if they're just pretending to be. Like, I was on ASAP earlier, and this guy, I already knew that he was after a visa coming to this country, the UK, and I told him so as well. And then he's like, oh, so who do you like then? I said, they're Indian guys, and he's like saying, well, some of them are scammers and they try to get in the country. I'm like, yeah, that's how I know. I do know some of them are like that. Not all of them. I still love Indian guys overall, but I said, yeah, because you repeat the same patterns of speech that they do, basically. So yes, if you're not in a relationship, would you like to be in one? And if so, why? And what type of relationship? Romantic, platonic? What would your ideal relationship look like? And would you be in a relationship with a sexual person or not? And reason why? Maybe a relationship would be good. I don't particularly have a drive to be paired up. It would be nice, but it isn't necessary at all. If I were to seek one out, it would be platonic, based on mutual interests and things we enjoy doing together, exploring the common roots of world faith traditions, studying world cultures to see what the oldest stories say, doing ancestral type skill building, that sort of thing. No sports at all unless you count archery and such. Going to punk shows and playing video games. I will never get into a relationship with a sexual person again. I was married 3 times. All 3 were sexual. That type of mixed relationship can work, or so I've been told, but in my experience, it only injures both parties and is massively unfair to both parties. In my case, allowing sex basically had the exact same effect as if I had been, trigger warning, raped, but topped with the massive guilt of knowing I let this violation happen to me. I know what the effects of rape are, as I've been on the receiving end of corrective rape 34 times, and also the regular no real motivator, but the assertion of animal dominance rape twice. So I know what I'm saying here. Conversely, my ex-husbands felt I denied them their marital rights when I chose not to. And the last boyfriend I had actually broke up with me because I was honest with him about not wanting sex anymore. I suspect that he cheated on me the last several months of the relationship, but had the good taste to be less than obvious about it. He pretended to care about my heart, and up until the last moment told me we had a future together and that my nature was wonderful and acceptable and we could make it. The breakup was unexpected and hurt more than the 3 previous divorces, mostly because of the lies. Yeah, it's horrible when someone says they're still interested. Like the guy on Facebook dating, even at the end of the video call, when I thought, is he thinking we're not compatible anymore? And I said to him, so do you still want to like meet up on Saturday? He's like, yeah. And then like send me your Facebook and I'll send you some messages after the call. And I did send him Facebook and Instagram, and he didn't bother connecting with me and didn't bother to message me. So I knew he wasn't really interested, Like, it would have been better if he did just said at the end of the call, actually, I just think, or after the call, I've had a think about it and I realised that we both want different things. We're not going to be compatible and wish me the best. That would have been nice to do that rather than wasting my time thinking we're still going to meet up on Saturday and having to ask him about it, or assume about it. Assume that he's not interested anymore. People should just be honest. Lying is horrible, deceiving is horrible, withholding truth is horrible, not telling someone straight about something is horrible. We need to be having more open and honest conversations about things. People deserve to know the truth. Right, so Samantha G's story. I would only want to be in a completely platonic relationship, but I would have to know that person for several months or years to even consider dating them. And yes, they could be a sexual person. I would just wish for them to give up sex forever to be with me. If they go off to have sex with someone else that isn't me, then I feel like they don't love me, or I'm not giving them everything they need in life. And yeah, I have to agree, like if they're going to go off with someone else and cheat and get their sex somewhere else, that isn't love. That's just cheating. I'm not talking about polyamorous relationships where they're set up to see different people from the beginning. I'm on about someone who cheats. If a sexual person can't live without sex, they shouldn't be with me. As a sexual pole, stay sexual. I wholeheartedly believe that. I'd rather stay on my own. I actually do love being on my own. Sometimes I really question whether I should be in a relationship ever again, because I really do like being on my own a lot of the time. Like, I'm used to my own company. I'm used to living my own life. I'm used to doing my own thing when I need to do it. And also, like, something else that was different with the guy on Facebook dating, he liked spontaneity, and I like to plan everything and schedule it. It's no good me having a guy say, "Oh, can I see you now?" when I've got work to do, or like when I've planned to see him and then he's like going off somewhere else doing something at the last minute. That wouldn't work for me. So, I take my work very seriously. I take what I do for asexuals very seriously. I put a lot of time, energy, and effort into helping others. And I want a guy who supports me in that. I want a guy who's there for me, to be my teammate, my soulmate, my beautiful guy for life. I truly see myself with an Indian guy. I just can't. Like, all the last 4 guys I've had interest in have all been Pakistani guys, but even sat talking to the Pakistani guy, like, he was nice looking and stuff like that, and I did like talking to him, but I still had in my mind, like, if I ended up in a relationship with this guy, then what would happen to my wish of being with an Indian guy? And I still feel more comfortable being with Indian guys than anyone else. I feel more like at home, at peace within my soul, like I'm more meant to be with an Indian guy. I don't know how to describe it. It's just the way I feel, but I haven't met that one Indian guy. I've only got to find the right one out of thousands of millions of people, right? But it's really hard sometimes finding that needle in a haystack, isn't it? Because as asexuals, we're all different. And unfortunately, I do find that a lot of asexual guys are not as into having a relationship as sexuals. Like, with sexuals, there's a lot more urgency because of the sex, which is really horrible thing to say. Like, I don't want to say that, because I think, why should that be the case? Why should someone be pursuing a relationship actively and really into getting one just because sex is involved? Why aren't asexual guys more into being committed to finding the right relationship and wanting the right relationship and doing whatever it takes to get it? Do you know what I mean? I find sexuals are more driven like that. And that I find really difficult. I'm like, really? Just because you're asexual, you're not so bothered? It's like, okay, I've just said that maybe I shouldn't be in a relationship. Maybe I'd be better off on my own, which is true. Maybe I will, but I'm still active on dating. I'm still pursuing, and I've still got the idea in my mind and the wish in my heart to still find the right guy for me. Like, I don't actually give up. Even when I say I've given up, it's not for very long, really. It's kind of like temporary, because it's like within my soul and being, I feel there is a guy out there for me. And I think when I meet the right guy, it probably would fall into place. Like, but I think he would be independent as well as wanting to spend quite a bit of time with me. So there would be a nice balance there. And I think he would just love me for who I am. But it's really hard to find the right person for a relationship, especially when you live an unconventional life. And I think asexuals in general, some asexuals live a really unconventional life compared to the majority of the world. Like, some don't want kids. Some don't want marriage. Some don't like sharing a bed. They like to live in separate rooms and things like that. But, for me, I don't want sex. I don't want marriage. I don't want kids. And I like living separately. I really think it's in my own best health interest to live separately, because I can go to bed whenever I want to, then not when I'm forced to, or not when I'm feeling guilty because the other person needs to sleep and I can't sleep. You know what I mean? I just much prefer, like, living my own healthy life, what's good for me. And I think in a relationship, 2 people should be living their own individual healthy life and lifestyle in order to come together and be healthy for each other, if that makes sense. I hope it does. Anyway, hope you like this episode. Please give it a thumbs up if you did. Share it with anyone you think may want to hear this information right now. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon, and grab your copy of Asexual Perspectives, because there's only a few days left to get this reduced on Kindle version. Go and grab a copy now. It's a good price as it is usually, but at the moment it's got massive discount on it. See the post on my community tab. Go and grab a copy of Asexual Perspectives book on Kindle. Read all about different asexual perspectives, 47 asexual stories, and get all your asexual questions answered about love, life, and sex in this book from an asexual point of view. If you want to know all about, do asexuals masturbate? Do they watch porn? Do they take part in BDSM? What's the difference between sexual attraction and sexual desire? What's the difference between sexual attraction and arousal? All these type of things are in this book. All the answers that you want to know are in this book. That's why I wrote it. So go and grab a copy. It's an original Asexual Perspectives book, published in 2017, and it still holds true to this day. Grab your copy now. You can get it on other websites, but on Amazon, the Kindle version is heavily reduced at the moment. Lots of love to you. See you soon on the next video live stream. Like I said, subscribe and hit the bell icon. Take care. Bye.